Hi, kitty cats. What do Lauren Boebert, Donald Trump, and I have in common? If you're actually at all familiar with me and love me or hate me, I can imagine you're probably going, oh, absolutely nothing. But I can think of at least one way, and that is the topic for today. All right, so welcome everybody to this live stream. I am Amethysta Herrick. I'm an author and a podcaster, and I was just hoping you could check the links below for more information about me and what I do. You'll see my personal website is at amethysta.io, and you can find all the social media networks I'm on, so you can follow me for updates and everything I do. You'll also see in one of these little scrolling web page thing, my professional website is genderidentitytoday.com. All of my articles on my podcasts are published there. I also accept contributions from other people. So if you like this content here, you might consider subscribing at genderidentitytoday.com. You can get a subscription for like $2 a month. And if you'd like to contribute content to genderidentitytoday.com, please contact me through my personal website, which I said, amethysta.io. The last thing that'll come up there, if you want to leave a tip, you can there's a link to coffee.com where you can just leave a general tip if you like. All right, let me welcome people. I see CM Burns. Hello. Matt, thank you so much for being here. Stay hydrated. One sec. There you go. What do you think? I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Nijonibi? I'm going to say Nijonibi. Hello. Good to see you. Floof says, what WTF do I do? Ooh, I will tell you. I am a biologist and a chemist by education. I went into technology, and then later on, when I began gender transition, I started writing, and this is how I ended up here. I started doing writing. I started doing podcasts, and now you can see I'm doing live streams. So let me talk about what I want to. Let me see what I would tell you what I want to talk about today. I actually recorded a podcast yesterday, and this is kind of neat. Is it Nijonbi or is it Nijonbi? I'm sorry, you said I pronounced it correctly, and then I did it twice. Oh. All right. Yesterday, thank you, Matt, for getting rid of Floof. Yesterday, I recorded a podcast on a podcast called Vibes, Harmony, and Culture. And it's with the host is Kevin Anderson. Kevin was really super cool. I am going to link him in the notes. It's going to be on YouTube here. I'm going to link him in the notes. I'm not sure when this episode's going to release. I think it's like March, but I will post when it does. But in the meantime, you can check him out. He's really kind of cool. This was a bit different of a podcast for me to appear on because what I talked about initially, anyway, what Kevin talks about is music. And, I'm not sure, how much it's clear, but I've got, musical gear behind me. I've been a musician for a long time. And so, I was going to talk about just music. Before I talk more about this podcast, I will acknowledge a couple of people. So let's see. Do I have any animals? I do. I have a cat. I'm not sure what that's about. But Ava, thank you so much for the compliment on my hair. Always fun. All right, so on this podcast, on VHC, on Vibes, Harmony, and Culture, we ended up starting to talk about social norms. Because, Kevin knows what my background is, etc. And so we talked about social norms, especially as they get driven by music and musicians. Because one of the things that I loved when I was younger was psychedelic music. Like Jimi Hendrix was a big one for me. Cream is another huge one. Janis Joplin, who is probably closer to a American blues as opposed to psychedelic. But here's the point: we talked about that to a certain extent, and then we talked about how how the music and the musicians themselves expanded. Outside, they were trying to expand culture outside of 1950s traditional values. And there's a good reason for that because, we were looking at the 1950s. We had a boom right after World War II, right? So this was, in some ways, at least a rebellion against that. But we got into the idea that musicians in general, they always challenge social norms, because we started talking a little bit about this, like about the 1970s. David Bowie, the term gender bending was actually developed for David Bowie, kind of interesting. And then we talked a little bit about Freddie Mercury and how, he really brought gay culture into music. And then if you look more recently, Kevin brought up a DJ, a transgender DJ called Honey Dijon. I'm actually not familiar with Honey Dijon's music, but if you're out there, Honey Dijon, hey, we talked about you, right? Cool. And then we also talked about Chapel Roan. And so both of these two, Honey Dijon being, being transgender herself, is obviously coming from a transgender perspective. And Chapel Roan talks so much about the LGBTQ experience. And I think her songs, some of them in particular, Pink Pony Club, talks about how it's important for the community itself to distance ourselves from some of these traditional values. So the point is that when we talk about these traditional values, these are social norms, right? Brody, my cat, is a girl. I'm not sure why Brody Martinez is so important or so interested in my cat. So musicians end up changing some of these social norms. They challenge these social norms. Pretty obviously, the song lyrics talk about change, challenging the social norms directly. And actually, Brody, you know what? Stick around. Brody Martinez, after asking me is my cat a boy or a girl, says, that's weird. How do I know it doesn't identify as a boy? Actually, Brody, I don't know. That's a really interesting question. So why don't you stick around for a little bit, because I have things that I can say, not necessarily about cats, but stick around, because I'd love you to hear this. Musicians challenge social norms. They talk about change directly. Their appearance in the public eye will challenge social norms. Chapel Roan in particular has some, great presentation. But then they also challenge what it means to be a fan. Chapel Roan came out about, there were a fan who was like, listen, I need to be right next to you. And she's like, no, there needs to be a different. Billie Eilish mentioned this too, this idea that she needed a separation between her music and the fans. And I actually even saw Robert Smith of The Cure responding to that in an interview. And he says how interesting people, the difference that we see in people today. He brought up that social media makes fans feel really close to the musicians. And I'm going to take that a little further. Social media gives us the ability to share experiences more widely, and that adds to the musical industry. It also adds to the speed at which social norms can change. Brody, I'm not interested in like blocking you immediately. Listen and learn. Let's see. All right. If you end up listening to me and going, no, you're full of crap, then let me know. But all right. So let's see. Ninjombi also says Laura Jane Grace from the punk band Against Me. Good. Another good call. Hi, Megan. Good to see you. I also want to say thank you so much, Matt, for dropping a little gift for me. That's so cute. Thank you. I love it when I love you so much. I'm just going to say that. All right. Music. So musicians. Last week, I did a previous live stream. Actually, it wasn't last week. I think it was 3 weeks ago now. But in a previous live stream, I talked about how social norms are not natural laws. We have social norms which are particular to a context, to a social environment. And the norm only exists because a majority of people behave that way or want others to behave in a particular way. What I brought up last time was that there are politicians, conservative typically, who want to calcify certain social norms into legislation, which is different. Politicians who want to, typically conservative, who want to force a poor understanding of science on U.S. citizens. And we're talking about, I am talking about climate change, bodily autonomy, and of course, one of my favorite, topics, gender affirming care. Now, it's really easy for you just to go, you know what, look, musicians, they're like a special breed, right? They get a free pass to be weird. And these challenges that Chapel Roan may throw out here to social norms can easily be ignored. But we see even those who want to calcify these social norms, again, typically conservative, breaking these social norms. Now, admittedly, nobody's going to accuse politicians of being immune to hypocrisy. And I keep saying typically conservative, and I'm not going to say that either side possesses a monopoly on hypocrisy or, ignorance. That said, recent elections have left conservatives believing they have this ultimate power. And I'm willing to bet that we'll see some of this in the TikTok chat here. But, the recent elections leave conservatives thinking that they have this ability to put their social norms into laws that limit freedom of expression. Ultimately, they want to legislate identity. All right? So I want to talk about how social norms, first of all, are being challenged, even by those who claim they are sacrosanct. Right? So here we go. I want to talk about how feminine norms are being challenged. One of the big conservative talking points, particularly to transgender people, is to say, you know what? You really need to be happy with who you are. You really need to be happy with your body in particular. One of those people is Lauren Boebert. She's a representative from Colorado. I'm actually in Colorado, not one of Lauren Boebert's constituencies in her constituency, but she is in Colorado. So, Lauren Boebert, interestingly, while telling me to be happy with my body, is rumored to have had several plastic surgeries. She's rumored to have had a nose job, a facelift, and also breast implants. And that, by the way, that's what I have in common with Lauren Boebert right now. We both have plastic surgery in common. So let me actually acknowledge a couple of people. Bobby, hello. Megan says politicians like keeping people dumb, making them easier to control. I believe that, and I'm actually going to throw that out later on. Let me see. Curtis, hopefully that I'm saying that right, says, you think I would be a good professor if I aren't one already, or teacher. So I have actually taught chemistry, analytical chemistry at the university level. I did for a few years. Thank you. I did actually get nominated for a Teacher of the Year award through the university where I taught. And thank you again for loving my hair. Thank you. All right, let me see. Another big conservative talking point is that femininity is something inborn, that it's not cultivated, not learned, it's inherent in genetics. And we hear this, you hear conservatives say, oh, the women, the gentler sex. The gentler sex. And yet Lauren Boebert recently was groping a date's genitals in a theater, ended up getting tossed out. She also owns a restaurant, I guess in Rifle, Colorado, I believe. And employees have reported she was, quote, a monster to work for because she would yell at them and she was apparently very aggressive and kind of nasty to them. Now, it's one thing, I guess, if you go, well, I'm not living up to the social norms that she espouses. And for what it's worth, when Lauren Boebert got tossed out of a, Matt, I think you're right. I think the restaurant did get shut down. So kind of interesting. All right, so Boebert also came out. She had like a post that said, okay, listen, I groped a guy. I was not living up to my own values. And that's interesting. I get it if you go, look, I had a momentary lapse of whatever, momentary lapse of masculinity. I'm not living up to the social norms I espouse. What about challenging other norms? Like, let's look at, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She posts a lot of photos, a lot of videos of herself in what I would call traditionally masculine pursuits. Because I've seen her, well, it's interesting too, because she's always wearing a bikini or very revealing clothing, and then she's like weightlifting and grunting and heaving and oofing. There was also a photo I remember where she was holding what looks like some big, huge automatic weapon. I don't even know what it was, some big, huge gun. both Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene have challenged social norms. They've both engaged in behavior traditionally associated with masculinity. Public displays of affection, aggressive behavior. In fact, public and aggressive displays of behavior, more aggressive, I think that's what I said, more aggressive behavior, selfies in the gym, hunting, shooting, etc. So I have a good, and unfortunately they have it kind of hard, because if you ask why do they challenge these feminine social norms, they are politicians. They have to try to appear more powerful than this patriarchy that's around them would typically allow them to be. And sadly, as women, they also have to do what they can to attract the male gaze. So they're actually in kind of a crummy place, both of them. They have to play into this masculine social norm so that it shows that they're like ball busters. In order to be successful, kind of ironically, they probably embody many of the feminist principles they'd likely dismiss. Just a point there. So I think we have to ask the question, what is femininity? Are these two feminine? Do they believe they are feminine? Why in the world should I believe them? Do they embody the social norms they claim are natural laws about femininity? All right, let me go through a couple of comments. Among other activities at the Beetlejuice musical. I'm not sure what that is. All right. Kermit debates. I believe she may have exposed herself publicly to Lauren. This is Lauren Boebert. She is a bit of a hypocrite, and this is partly why I'm answering these questions. But so Brody Martinez actually says, as long as I'm going at this, why don't I respond to your question? Was there another question that you asked me that I haven't? Why is it because you asked why would I block you for asking great questions? What I told you is that it's going to take a while, for what it's worth. Give me some time here, babe. Wait, my first one about the cats? I don't even know. All right. Grief Foundation. Hello, Grief Foundation. You've shown up. Says, if we're being fair to Lauren Boebert, we should probably also include that her husband is a sex offender who met her when she was a minor. It's a great point. It's a great point, and thank you for bringing that up. Like I said, I don't want to say that only conservatives face this hypocrisy, and certainly if you want to look at people's behavior, seeing how they were brought up is pretty important. So and that's something right there, just to say Lauren Boebert did not have a grand early life, and I'm not gonna debate her early life, despite the fact she might debate mine. So, talked about femininity. Let's talk about challenging masculine norms. If you look in Hollywood, and especially if you look at people like Charlton Heston, many of the conservative actors who are in Hollywood, the point is supposed to be that men age gracefully. They don't need that cosmetic crap that women do. Real women don't care. Real men won't care about fashion because they could be holding, large automatic weapons, possibly in photos next to Marjorie Taylor Greene, unsure. So you can combine two in one. Why not, right? So here you are showing your male gaze as well as holding a large automatic weapon. It's very masculine. So there you go. So an interesting little tidbit here. Elon Musk has come out publicly denouncing his transgender daughter. And he's called her fake. Fake. Her father called her fake. Her father, Elon Musk, also had facial masculinization surgery. He also had hair plug procedures done because losing his hair, started bringing his hair back forward. It's also a big conservative talking point that men aren't supposed to decorate themselves. What am I doing wearing a skirt? What am I doing dyeing my hair? What am I doing with some of these things? And yet our president-elect, Donald Trump, really very clearly wears makeup. Incidentally, that's what I have in common with Donald Trump. Right now, we're both wearing makeup. That's about all we have in common. But Trump also has very consistently, if you watch him, has very consistently, for decades, sported this lavish, bouffant type hairstyle that everybody goes, God, how does he keep that like going in place, right? And he recently, like in the past week, changed his hairstyle to something that looks a little more macho look. And he came walking out looking all tubby, unfortunately. But, now he's got like this more like, almost like, I can't think of his name. Who is it moonlighting? David Addison. I share a birthday with him, March 19th. Anyway, that guy. Dang, I used to love him when I was a kid. Here's the point. But he has a hairstyle now that's just like this brush back. He's trying to look all macho looking. Both Elon Musk and Donald Trump are challenging social norms. They're both engaging in vanity that were traditionally associated with femininity. They've had surgical procedures to look more masculine. Isn't that interesting? Well, Elon Musk has. Donald Trump is wearing makeup, giving his hair. They're both giving their hair great attention. Why do they challenge these social norms? Because they are trying, as older men, to appear younger, more attractive, more virile. Because when you look like that, you also appear like more powerful men. And think about this a moment here, because I got, funny little bit here. Does Donald Trump look young, vital, and virile? No. No, he kind of comes across as like Fabio's creepy Uncle Elliot at holiday gatherings, right? And what's funny is actually that joke right there, like, that it uses social norms against Trump. It's kind of funny because I used Fabio. I don't know if anybody remembers Fabio out there. We used like a book cover model from the 1980s or 90s, something like that. Who knows? And, it's funny. If you're remembering Fabio, you're probably chuckling a bit because that was 40 years ago. And what was vaguely cool in the 80s, like, neon t-shirts and whatever, what was cool in the 80s is pretty lame today. And if you don't remember Fabio, maybe you're thinking, damn, God, that's a reference at least as old as Amy is. Maybe it's a reference as old as Trump. And that's how uncool this guy is, all right? And I also use the name Elliot. And some of you might think of like an old movie where Elliot's the kid on the playground who eats paste. But some of you might go, oh, Elliot Page. And he's pretty cool, right? But I modified it with creepy uncle. And the creepy uncle, like hitting on the young girls at holiday gatherings trope, that was well worn in when Shakespeare used it in Hamlet. Except his name wasn't Elliot, just so you know. So what is masculinity? Are these two masculine? Do they believe they are masculine? And why in the world should we believe them? Do they embody the social norms they claim are natural laws? Interesting thought. So let me look at the chat again. Let me see. We've got, hey all, hey some person. Luke Moeller has asked me, so do you believe you can go into a women's restroom? Yes. For what it's worth, I have absolutely nothing that will challenge a woman in a restroom. First of all, I don't have the aggression that most sexual predators do. And Luke, thank you for bringing up this painful memory, but I also have been a victim of social or sexual predators. Thank you so much for that. I also don't have the parts. And if you knew anything about me, you might have actually looked for that. But you didn't. You want to jump in here and just crap on me, right? Thanks. Claritha? Oh my gosh, I love that name. Claritha. Ooh, that's beautiful. I gotta say it again. Claritha. That feels so cool in your mouth. Oh my gosh. Claritha says they are fantastic points. Always a weird thing to find joy and happiness in norms and also try to break those norms. Yes, and I'm gonna get to that, I swear. Matt says that I'm wearing the makeup better. Quite true. What point am I trying to make? Scott Chambliss asks. Yeah, stick around. Give me another 30 seconds, okay? I'm gonna read the comments here. Matt Adeline says he has met Fabio. Damn. Like that's street cred, brother. Like, really? Wow. All right, let me see. Paige has Nijon, what were you telling me to call you? I'm sorry. Nijo says war paint. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm wearing. And Trump, I think, is definitely its war paint. But all right, here we go. Nijo also says Jason Statham looks pretty good, and he doesn't look too young. It's a good point. I mean, if you look at, oh gosh, he played Batman. Oh, brother, where art thou? That guy. He keeps on being put up as, sexiest man of all times. And he's always looked, he's always had some gray hair going on. So there you are. Trump, so Grief Foundation says that Trump, thank you, George Clooney. Gen X, white crayon, right on it. Thank you so much. You get tons of points. Grief Foundation says Trump has female-sized hands. Does he? Interesting. Matt also says he's a combat decorated veteran. His war paint looks like goth makeup. Running low on eyeliner. I just went and got some last week. All right, so Scott Chambliss. You want to know what I'm talking about? Here's what I'm talking about. What point I'm trying to make. Conservative politicians. Well, here's the big point, and I'm just gonna throw this out. We use what suits us when it suits us. Conservative politicians and their cronies, because obviously Elon Musk not a politician, are coming out and saying we're going to limit human expression. This is what they have to do. They're not doing it because those social norms are natural laws. Because they prove that each of all four of those people, those conservative politicians and their cronies, have proved social norms can be challenged. They challenge them themselves. And again, I get it. Hypocrisy runs rampant in those who call themselves fit to govern others. Absolutely. But like Robert Smith pointed out right at the very beginning when I was talking about Robert Smith of The Cure, social media has enabled social change, social norms. These changes are accelerating because we have social media. We see these Hollywood movie stars daily. We see musicians daily, and we want to emulate them. And those who want to emulate are even those who would attempt to limit our freedom of expression. So interesting, right? I didn't choose this topic so that I could dump on Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump. Not solely to dump on them anyway. I chose this topic because the human experience, Scott Chambliss, the human experience is more complicated than they want to make out. I have very long claimed that gender dysphoria is not only a transgender affliction. So I think it's important to ask, why did these people do what they did? They play into social norms. They feel they don't live up to social norms. They have to be hypersexualized or they have to be young and virile. They feel they don't live up to them. They don't embody the gender roles laid out by these social norms as much as they think they should. And that's what causes gender dysphoria. How about them apples? And I'm going to tell you, I also don't think that they're wrong for what they did. For what it's worth, I understand what it feels like, Elon Musk, not to feel very masculine. And I understand what it feels like, Lauren Boebert, not to have confidence in my physical appearance. I understand what it feels like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, to have to prove yourself over and over in a social environment dominated by my inferiors. I understand what it feels like, Donald Trump, to feel weak and old and vulnerable. So what I ask of these people is that they accept the people they are. Accept that the actions that they did are normal, the actions they do right now are normal, and then accept that my actions are no different. And if their actions are normal, then certainly so are mine. So that's all I had for today. I will answer any questions about social norms, the impact on our social environment. Got about a half an hour that I'm willing to talk here. Hopefully this was an interesting topic. Hopefully Lauren, Elon, Marjorie, and Donald will all reach out to me and say, thank you so much for setting me straight, Amy. That was really important. I get a thumbs up from Trump. All right, so let me look at some of these comments here. So we got Jason Statham. Trump has female hands. Okay, here we go. So I also have from Nijo, lol, in my opinion, and it's seen in the animal kingdom too, that the sexiest males are older. It's a sign of strength and power. A male doesn't get to that age by being weak. It's an excellent point. It really is. But in women, especially in humans, right? You can't have women who get older. They can't be older than about 17. Because once you're 18, like, ugh, no, never mind. You're going downhill. Don't even bother, right? It's a weird thing. But then in Hollywood, you have people, George Clooney, as it was pointed out, other people who do age gracefully, and we're okay with that. What we're not okay with, incidentally, is sort of, age gracefully, sure. We're really obvious, like, salon tan, fake tan? It's not exactly. It's not as easy to pull that off. So let me see. Now I'm looking at TikTok here. AdGuns6. Who needs gender coaching, lol? Yeah, it's a good question. Gender coaching is something that I do because there are transgender people who are unable to understand how they want to transition. They don't know where to start. Because it's pretty common. We face stuff like what I've just talked about here. We face consistently not fulfilling social norms. And you're already scared of it. We're already scared of these. If you're going to start trying to present as your preferred gender, you've already had a hard time doing it with the gender that social norms threw at you. It's frightening. It's very, very frightening. So who needs gender coaching? Anybody who's afraid of social norms. Gosh, I might even point out the 4 people I talked about before. Who would think? CJ says, no disrespect, but. I always appreciate that. No disrespect, but. Let me ask you a disrespectful question. And it's not, CJ. Here's the question. How come I didn't respect my true self, and why did I transition? Let me ask you, I want to start off actually by asking this question, CJ. Did Lauren Boebert respect her true self? Does Marjorie Taylor Greene respect her true self? Did Elon Musk respect his true self? Donald Trump? What is the true self? Is the true self like we're born and we get given a diaper and we never change our hair, we never put on makeup, we never get a new wardrobe? What's your true self? What's that supposed to mean? True self means what you would like myself to be. Not my true self, but rather your self that you want me to portray. And those are very different things. Why did I transition? I think I just answered that. Your self, the self that you want me to portray, I don't do very well. I do it really poorly. I portray masculinity very, very poorly. And I've struggled with that. In fact, I struggled with it for 52 years. 52. Is that enough pain for you yet? Is it okay that maybe now I ease my pain a little bit after 52 years? That's why I transitioned. Because ultimately, as Matt says, when you transition, you do find the self that's inside. Not what you want me to be, CJ, but what I choose to be. And each of us is able to choose that. Who do you want to be? I wanted to be a girl with purple hair. Son of a bitch, here I am. All right? All right. She's pointing out Curtis says she's pointing out the performance of gender by leading politicians. This is a good point. All right. CJ asks again, how would transitioning regain true respect? Regain true respect. Again, whose respect? I want to ask you, should I care about your respect? Is it your respect I'm trying to gain? Because I don't really want to. Why is that important to me? The person I want to respect is myself. Period. All right? All right, let me see. Rainey Rodriguez. Hey, I think I've seen you before. Hi, Rainey. The outfit one chooses means so much more than the outfit one is given. I just want to sit for a moment with that. Wow. The outfit one chooses means so much more than the outfit one is given. I've had a couple of times. I've had a couple of times where somebody gave me like I don't know, a sweater. Sorry, I guess is that a jumper, I think. But so somebody gave me some piece of clothing that I pulled it out of the box and I went, thanks, thank you so much. Oh, try it on now? No. I'll wait until you are gone. But then I'll put it on in the comfort of my own home, right, in privacy. And I'll look in the mirror and I'll go, oh, damn, I would never have thought, but this actually looks pretty good. Who would have thought? So I will also say that, sometimes people will choose things for you and we have to experience what it's like. What's that outfit? How does that outfit look on us? How, what does it do to us? And to bring this back around to everything I'm trying to say here, if I spent 52 years wearing an outfit that was given to me, I know very well how well it suited me, okay? I also knew very well from long, periods of thinking and trying, expressing my femininity. I knew very well what expressing femininity, how well that suited me. So, all right, I'm going to go back to, if anybody has a question, by the way, go ahead and post it in the chat and I will absolutely jump on it. But, all right, let me see. Nijo says, yeah, once you're in your 20s, then Leonardo don't want you no more. Ouch. There we go. Now here's a quote from the Pokemon theme song. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Right there. All right, CM Burns says, I felt like when I started my transition, I saw glimpses of the person in my innate self, like a flash of recognition. I think that's fascinating, actually, because I did the same thing. It was interesting to me to consider. I mean, this was in my 20s. This was quite a while ago, but it was interesting to me when I would go to like clubs. I would dress in I had this great like tight velvet skirt. It was really beautiful. But I would wear that skirt and I had this neat sort of sheer bodysuit and a little burgundy vest sort of thing. It's kind of fun. Anyway, I would go to the club and it was interesting how comfortable I felt. Sort of like you just said, like a flash of recognition. I would put on some makeup and go, I feel like I know this person. I looked natural, which is, I'm paraphrasing what CM Burns says. Very, very true. So very true. So in any event, I mean, I knew by the time I was 52, I just didn't wear the masculinity bit very well. So, I'm gonna run with it. This feels great. Now I feel very, very natural. And now I go out in public and I'm not, there's a, I'm going to go off on a small tangent here because I've had people ask me, somebody asked me who needs gender coaching. This is one of the big questions that I've been asked. How do I know when I pass? The way you pass is when you go out in public, and it's not perfection. It's not at all. Unwise Owlet has been so cute and said, I don't wear the femininity bit well either. Oh, well, that's cute. Thank you. I'm sure you'll be gone really quickly. So Teresa, how do I know that I pass? The way that you pass is when you go out in public and somebody looks at you and they just turn right away. You become, as I call it, unremarkable. You're not somebody that people looks at and goes, oh, I should probably remark on that. So why was I talking about this? Oh, the big thing is that like when I have as I've gone further along in my transition, like I go out in public now and I just feel, I feel great. I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel people are looking at me. I feel unremarkable, which is great. I've got some people who are throwing some shade at me and it's like, sure, if you want to throw shade at me, go ahead. The thing is that, perhaps you don't understand what it's like to go out into public and worry that everybody's looking at you, that everybody's, giving you, this weird side eye. If you don't understand what comfort, if you don't understand what discomfort is, and I don't mean, you're wearing a funky hat and somebody looks at you and goes, oh my God, what is that? What's MAGA mean? And what a crazy hat. I don't mean discomfort for like a second. I mean, every time you go out, every time you appear on a camera, every time you talk to somebody, if you feel discomfort, it weighs you down. It ends up ultimately, and if you look at the statistics for the transgender community, it causes mental health issues. Suicidal ideation is somewhere on the order of 82%. It was one of the last big studies. 82% suicidal ideation and suicide attempts. I want to just throw out another statistic, okay? In Greenland has actually the worst, take it for what this is worth, has one of the worst suicide statistics on the planet. There are about 53 suicides per 100,000 people. That's 0.05%. All right, 0.05%. 82 versus 0.05. That's more than 2 orders of magnitude. 2 orders of magnitude. 2 orders of magnitude is 100. All right, that's a big difference. So Ocean, I don't even know. Ocean something says, well, that's indicative of a mental health problem that hasn't been properly addressed. It is definitely indicative of a problem that hasn't been properly addressed, no doubt. And I don't know, Ocean, where you stand on this, whether or not I should or should not be able to have gender-affirming care. Gender-affirming care address that problem. So, like, good or bad, answer if you get the chance. So I'm just going to go back to the YouTube chat. Angela Walker Scott, hi, Angela, good to see you. Angela says, when I became my true self, I knew that nobody is totally female. We are a combination of both. And I think that's a phenomenal point. I continue, oh gosh, I've been restricted for some audiences. I contain themes that some may find uncomfortable. Right, I kept talking about discomfort. There it is. So Angela says, when I became my true self, I knew that nobody is totally female. We are a combination of both. I've had several conversations with people who are in the the esoteric community, people who have written books about spirituality and founders of spiritual communities. Sisterhood of Avalon is one, Jenna Tellendrew. And then I also talked to Christopher Hughes, who is the archdruid of the Anglesey Druid Order. And this is pretty much what we all come to. Oh my gosh, now my live has been flagged for harassment and bullying. Wow. All right. So the thing is that, yes, we are absolutely a combination of the two. This is sort of what we all end up recognizing, is that you cannot have the masculine without the feminine. You cannot express masculinity without knowing what femininity is. And at least when you look at it from an energetic standpoint, like if you look at Western magical tradition, and I recognize I'm talking about magic and I'm talking about something from 500 years ago, little less. The concepts that we have when we look at masculine and feminine, it didn't have to do with genitalia. It had to do with what the action did. Were you initiating something? Were you activating something? Were you directing something? That was thought of as masculine. Were you receiving something? Were you nurturing something? Or were you completing something? That was thought of as feminine. And all you have to do is look at the earth. Like if you take a piece of corn and you put it in the earth, you have now taken a masculine principle and stuck it in a feminine principle. And how about them apples? You end up with corn at the end of the year. This is where these come from. We've pretended like these only apply to genitalia, which is foolish, first of all. Unscientific, obviously non-magical, not representative of nature, and not representative of the human experience. So that went off on a big tangent, but I will say, Angela, thank you so much for making that point. So Nijo says, oh crap, I'll never pass. Don't even care. Like, that's the thing. Like, don't even care. What's important, if you pass, does that make you better? Does that make you more real, more less transgender, more what does it make you? And I don't want to diminish the beauty of being able to pass, because certainly, there's beauty in it. But do you have to in order to be validated? I say no. All right, let me see. Well, let me go back to TikTok. I've got about 15 minutes left. Just Ash Rue. I don't know if you're still here, but I hope you're... Oh, it's Ash. Oh my gosh, it's my friend Ash. Ash says, would I rather be called a girl or a woman? Do both terms evoke the same euphoria? I'll tell a story. So I prefer woman. Like, I like woman because woman implies older, and I'm not going to kid ya. I'm older, right? But we were walking through like Costco. No, what the hell was it? Costco, something like that. And this person had like a chai. She had like a bowl full of chai. She's handing out chai. And my wife and I come walking by, and the lady says, "Hey girls, would you like some chai?" And I was like, "Girls? Like, I'm 12. That's kind of fun." Because I think you can look at me and go, not 12. So I don't know. It's not the same euphoria. What I like, actually, what causes euphoria is being called she, or somebody saying her. And what's funny is, in my head, because one of the big problems a lot of us face is continuing to have internalized transphobia. And I was actually mentioning this to my wife recently. I will hear my wife or my son say she or her. And I'll go, I wonder who they're talking about. And then I'll go, oh, it's me. I don't immediately, like in my own house, I don't immediately go, well, if they're talking about she, those two are talking about she, it's probably me, right? So there you go, internalized transphobia. It's pretty interesting. All right. Yeah, I wonder if Ocean does have, did Ocean have a psych degree? Yeah, well, Ocean's gone. What's a bummer. All right. Wild About Hockey says Native Americans believe in multiple genders. Yeah, the thing is that we right now, Western society equates, well, some people in Western society equate genitalia with gender. So we want to say, well, we only observe two genitals, two types of genitalia. Therefore, there must only be two genders. And I have spoken about this voluminously, okay, a long time, that as a biologist, when I was studying genetics way back in the day, this was back in the 80s, really, when Fabio was around, right? Think about that. Back in the 80s, I studied genetics, and what I was taught was that sex does not have to do with genetics. Sex has only to do with one cell that gets contributed to reproduction. And there are some species that are capable of creating both cells. There are some species that start off being able to create one cell and then go on to make another cell. There are some species, humans included, that are born capable of making neither cell to contribute to reproduction. Mammals, in particular, are not generally born capable of reproduction. We have to achieve sexual maturity. And we also saw that there were, funky things with genetics. We also saw that there are social orders that could define what cell gets contributed to reproduction. And so biologists said, oh, dang, what are we going to do about this? Because it's not what cell, but how are those cells expressed? And so biologists made up a new word, and that new word was gender, which encompasses the individual genetics and social environment and behavior, and in humans at least, cognition, that's all gender is. And so anyway, the idea of multiple genders, like I have a statement that I've made a few times because every so often I'll get somebody who says, well, how many genders are there? And I say, how many genders are there? There's only one. Yours. That's what you experience. There you go. Alex says, hey, I made it. Hey, my purple friend. Let me see. So, Sarsaparilla Jones, thank you for the gift. That's so kind of you. I appreciate that. Matt, I swear I'll send you the check again. Matt says, I'm obviously 21 through 28. Sure. There you go. Metal Magic has said, sometimes we just don't fit into any gender. Yeah, agreed. Why do we have to fit into a box? What's the point of a box? Like, honestly, because I mean, like, I've thought about this too. If you look at my driver's license, it now says F on it, which is scientifically inaccurate. I don't produce the gamete typically produced by a female. I don't produce any gametes, right? Because I had surgery. I don't make anything. But does it make a difference? Like when I get pulled over and a cop looks at my license, do you think he's going, M or F? No, he's going, is this like valid? Is it expired? Do you have one? So what's the point? Why do we do this? Why do we go, you know what, it would really make sense if when you walk into, a bar or something and you just need to prove that you can drink, that we know also, okay, you can drink and you have an M. Good on you. Go at it, baby. I don't fit into any gender. Right. What's the point anyway? Why do we need those boxes? Doesn't give us anything. Bo Hall, okay, says, I live outside of the box. I make my own decisions. You go, Bo. I hope so. All of us should do this. And, just to go back, clearly Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Lauren Boebert are making their own decisions outside of certain boxes. How about that? Amazing. Like the human experience is common. It's really weird. It's not weird. All right. Wait, Ocean did try to claim. Ocean said that they had a psych degree. Ooh. I don't think that's true. I'm just saying. Thank you so much, Siren, for some gifts. That's awesome. Siren also says, hi, beautiful. Oh, I love that. So Ash, if you're still here, and I don't know, I'm not seeing, but Ash, if you're still here, what gives me euphoria? Stuff like that. Right? All right, let me see. Nijo says, I wasn't allowed near the box. They feared I'd break something. I love this, I love that point. When I was in graduate school, it was so crazy because I was in small town, like rural Georgia, okay? And I grew up in Southern California, just to, and if you didn't know it be from the way I said California, you anybody from SoCal is going, oh, you totally were, weren't you? Or didn't you? But I'm in small town Georgia, okay? The way I came out, I was thinking about this recently, the way I came out as bisexual and transgender, although I really had neither of those two words in 1994. I just went to a party and I was wearing like a skirt and makeup. And I showed up and people were like, oh, well, I did not expect to see you like this, but yeah, cool, thanks. Look at you. Now I know something new about you. The thing is that like they didn't even care about the boxes. This was 1994 rural Georgia. I mean, admittedly, it was a college town, so sure. But why is it that now I walk out the door and if somebody goes, hang on, I want to look at your driver's license. Do you have an M or an F on it? Oh boy, please leave me alone. I do appreciate Milo. Milo in TikTok here has said, can confirm as someone from SoCal, right? California. There you go. I actually met somebody from like Arkansas. I don't even remember where she was from, but it was like Midwest somewhere or another. And she said something with a hard R, one of those hard R's, those hard rolling, growly kind of R's. And I went, oh my gosh, where are you from? And she goes, oh, I'm from Arkansas. And I went, no, you're not, right? And she goes, yeah, why? And I said, you sound like a Valley girl. And she was offended. I was like, oops, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. She said, no, I'm a good Midwest girl. I wouldn't be one of those weirdo Valley girls. And I'm like, okay, well, there you go. Anyway, can confirm. Thank you, Milo. I appreciate that. I got about 5 minutes left. I mean, I can just like do a soft shoe or something like that if you want. Not really. I'm not going to dance. But, if anybody has a question, I got like 5 minutes, or I can take a drink. Because look, I am hydrating. I'm staying hydrated. Right? So CM Burns says, oh, right? I'm doing what you asked. I will also say, I don't know how many people I'm looking at here. There's, I never know with these lives. I will say some of you have been so supportive of everything I do. It just, I always get overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed when people choose to listen to what I have to say because I don't feel that I say anything remarkably revolutionary. I just feel like I'm sort of speaking my truth, and for some reason that speaking my truth speaks the human experience. And I truly appreciate everybody who will show up to these and tell me things like I'm awesome. So thank you, Metal Magic, who says have a great day as well. Rebecca, I have absolutely dated myself. I am a Valley girl, yeah. It was great. I remember being like in high school. Here we go. I can kill a couple minutes on this. I remember being in high school when the first Bill and Ted movie came out. I think that was 86, 87, who knows. But I remember being in high school, and when I got into so Bill and Ted came out, and I just thought, yeah, these are the people, right? These are the people around me. And I went to when I went to graduate school, I had a friend who is from Minnesota. Yeah, he's from Minnesota, and is fully excellent, totally radical, frantic air guitar, right? Anyway, a friend from Minnesota, and I saw that movie with Frances McDormand, Fargo, and I said to him, "Hey, just out of curiosity, is everybody in Minnesota is everybody like that?" And he looks up for a second. He goes, "Oh, yeah, pretty much." And then says, "Is everybody in California like Bill and Ted?" And I go, "Yeah, pretty much." Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty accurate characterization. Even though what we need to do is be excellent to each other and party on, dude. There you go. So CM Burns asks, when will we see you again? Oh, gosh, thank you so much. I intend to do this next Saturday. So it would be great if everybody who wants to show up wants to. And I would also appreciate it if anybody has like a topic for a live stream. I would love to discuss it. I haven't done an AMA. Oh no, I did a couple weeks ago, right, Matt? I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I did an Ask Me Anything. But if you have a topic for a live stream, something that would be sort of longer form, 15, 20 minutes worth of conversation, I would love to hear it. You can go to, I don't know if it's showing up. Yeah, I'm looking at, no, here we go. Anyway, go to the link in the, go to the link there, amethysta.io. Send me an email, because you can do that. Just send me an email, and I'd love to, to talk about something you want to hear. And there you go. All right, what time is it? 1:58. All right, I'm going to shut this down. I want to say thank you so much to Matt Adlins for moderating on both TikTok and on YouTube. Nijo, Angela, Rebecca, love you so much. I don't know who else is out there. If I missed you, Bo, Grief Foundation, Megan, thank you so much. Oh, hang on, I got something from Rebecca. You spent the late 80s in SoCal in the military. Oh gosh, yeah, were you down in San Diego? I bet you were in San Diego. No better place to be at that time. Right? That's what Bill and Ted say. There's no better place to be than here. No better time to be than now. Nobody cared who you were. Just be a decent person. Be excellent to each other. It would be nice if the rest of the world would learn from that. Right? I mean, geez. The, it sounds dumb to say, well, be excellent to each other and party on. But why don't we just do this? All right. So I'm going to give a big heart to everybody here. Like that. Looks cute. Thank you so much. Oh, you were in Pendleton, right? See, I knew it. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.